And then there were four. The Bengals and Chiefs will battle it out at Arrowhead for the right to represent the AFC in Super Bowl 56. For Cincy, they entered the season with 150-1 odds to win it all, with a projected win total of just 6.5 games. But it's been all about defying the odds all season long for the Bengals. Joe Burrow made a miraculous recovery from that torn ACL and looks like he'll be one of the faces of the franchise and the league for the next decade or more. His stellar play led Cincy to their first AFC North title since the 2015 season. And after closing out 2 games late to start the playoffs, the Bengals now find themselves on the doorstep of reaching their first Super Bowl in 33 years. But internally, this is something they expected all along.
I'm tired of the underdog narrative, and we're a really, really good team. We're here to make noise.
On the other side, it looked like the Chiefs' season was on life support against the Bills in the divisional round, down 3 with just 13 seconds to go. But 2 people that never lost faith, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
And when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper and go get it. So he did that.
After pulling off the win in overtime in an instant playoff classic, the Chiefs are now 1 win away from reaching their 3rd consecutive Super Bowl. Will Mahomes have another magical performance in front of one of the most raucous crowds in the NFL? Or can Joey Franchise keep transforming a franchise that is still searching for its first Lombardi? We're going to find out Sunday on CBS.
Jeremy St. Louis getting us locked and loaded there. We're down to 4. Championship weekend on Sunday, starting there with the Bengals, of course, and Joe Burrow, who's been taking over the league against Patrick Mahomes and Chiefs. They've been in this position before, their 4th appearance in this game. That one going off on CBS at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then in the NFC, the Niners and Rams, they know each other pretty well in the NFC West there. Interesting to see how this one pans out between the two. That could be a little smash mouth between some familiar foes there on Sunday at 6:30 Eastern. All right, Brandon Bailey here alongside the Hall of Famer Ray Lewis, and it's an interesting weekend because we like to call this maybe a pressure situation because it's not just getting to the Super Bowl, but getting in this game. You've been in this point before in your career. How much pressure is it on these players at this point?
Yeah, I think if you have a young team, right, if you think about the Cincinnati Bengals, they're young, right? Joe Burrow's in 2nd year, Jamar Chase and those guys. But you have a couple of veterans on there who haven't kind of touched the playoff side of things yet. So I think it may be kind of lopsided for them. But when you talk about the other side, right, when you talk about the 49ers, that's a rich tradition of being in the playoffs. When you talk about the Rams, I think they're excited to be in the playoffs. So I think everybody takes it differently. I think you deal with it differently. For me, pressure was if you know what you're doing, if you know what you're trying to get done, then it's simple walking in the playoffs.
So Joe Burrow, he saw a lot of pressure this past weekend against the Titans, sacked 9 times in that game. You would have thought the Titans would have come out with the win, but no, Smoking Joe showed us I can get this done. If you're the Chiefs defense, looking at that tape, are you licking your chops and say, you know what, we might have some opportunities after this year?
I think if you're Chris Jones and you are the Chiefs defense, what you are saying is front 4, front 7, we have to win this game. We have to give our secondary some help because a young kid of Joe Burrow, but the other, his counterpart is Jamar Chase, who's coming in town. And after you see what Davis done last week, right, from Buffalo, and now you come to Chase, it can be, be careful. I would tell them not to blitz him, right? I think you have to give Jamar Chase some double coverage somewhere. I think you talk about Joe Burrow, you see this kid, he has all the abilities to throw and complete any pass on the football field. And listen, Nixon, I think Nixon is the key, right? And I think the Kansas City Chiefs is going to have to figure out how to stop this duo going back and forth from Nixon and Jamar Chase.
Interesting to see there. We just saw the numbers, sacked 9 times, the first quarterback in the playoff era to actually win the game since 1966.
Wow.
Yeah, so a very long time.
Wow.
So, but on the flip side, though, you look at Patrick Mahomes, nobody's has stopped him since he's gotten in the league.
Yeah.
If you're looking at this one, how can that defense of Cincy maybe slow down Patrick Mahomes? Let me not say stop, slow him down at some point.
You know what? The only way you can slow anybody down is you have to change the math. What does that mean exactly? I think Cincy has a better chance blitzing Patrick Mahomes. Make the ball come out of his hands very fast. If you watch the first game that they played, he was never flustered, not one time. He had exactly what he wanted. If you watch the Buffalo game this past weekend, B, what was interesting about it, they never changed the math. Nothing changed. You know, there's one thing about playing defense a certain type of way. Patrick Mahomes, when he comes out, if he gets the look that he wants, guess what? The ball is going where he wants it to go. But you have to change that. The only person that's been successful doing that is Todd Bowles' defense last year in the Super Bowl, right? You watch what they did. They just took away his superpower, which is the ball does not get behind our head. I think the Cincinnati Bengals has to take some real gambles. They have to hit him. They have to blitz him from different sides of the ball. They cannot just let him sit back there and pick away his own.
Right, he's led that offense to 84 points in the past 2 playoff games, 552 yards against the Bills. Are you serious about possibly slowing him down? Realistically,
I don't think you can slow him down, right? I'm telling you, you can't slow him down because the game from a defensive side, the problem is everybody's watching the game. Right. Against a Patrick Mahomes, you have to change the math. You have to give him different looks. You can't walk up and sit in the cover 3. You know he has an out, a curl, a comeback. It's too many options, right, on every defense. That's why you have to show different looks if you're Cincinnati, and you have to bring the blitz from the backside, the middle. You have to change Patrick's view, right? You can't just let him sit back there. Patrick sit back there, he gonna find somebody wide open, and when you have threats like Tyreek Hill, right? My goodness. I mean, I saw this man catch this slant the other night, and I'm like, I ain't never seen nobody run that fast. I done saw an animal run that fast, but I've never
They called him the cheetah.
Yeah, they do call him the cheetah. You have to change the math against Patrick Mahomes or any of these great quarterbacks. If you do not change the math, they will pick you apart.
One thing we learned, all he needs is 13 seconds, and he can get down there and win a game, sadly.
My blood pressure was so high at the house. I mean, I don't know what Buffalo defense was doing, but there's no way that you let a team go down the field in 13 seconds, right? There's no way you score 25 points in 1 minute and 54 seconds. That's impossible. People, and Brandon, he always said, you don't have to argue about this. Everybody's not your great defense. It's defense, period.
It's true.
Guys, we have to play defense in the playoffs. That's what wins championships. And I'm telling you, it's going to be one heck of a weekend to watch football.
So in the NFC, we're going to have a chess match as well. Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. Look, these two go way back when they were assistants, longtime friends. Looking at that chess match, how can that shake out when you look at both the weapons on both sides?
It is who folds. If you stick to the game plan, this is on Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has to protect Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Jimmy, look, everybody knows Jimmy flaws, right? He will throw you an interception. But Kyle Shanahan, the way they run the football, you playing against the Rams are speed racers. Von Miller, Aaron Donald, they want to get to the football. They want to find a way to disrupt your quarterback. How do you stop that? You stop that by running the ball. You think about what Aaron Donald has done this year. This guy, when you talk about pressuring the quarterback, he is probably the most dominant player we've seen this year. When you talk about pressuring the quarterback, of course there's J.J. Watt, of course there's some other guys, but I'm telling you what Aaron Donald does rushing the passer, it changes the way offenses draw up their game plans, right? You go from 1st and 10 now, and then you add Von Miller, right? So they have not hidden this. We paying for a Super Bowl. We're saying right now we need to win, and they went out and they put dynamic talents beside each other. And when you talk about Aaron Donald, when you talk about Von Miller, when you talk about Floyd on the other side, you're basically looking at hunters going towards the quarterback. But Kyle Shanahan is saying, wait a minute. You guys like to rush the passer, so I'm going to run the ball. And that's why I think their success has been against the Rams. If you watch the first game, they beat them 31-10. Then they was down at 17-0 at halftime, but they stuck to the game plan, which is physical football against the Rams. Aaron Donald, if Kyle Shanahan does what he's supposed to do, the only person, honestly, that can lose this game is Kyle Shanahan, because the way the 49ers play football, fundamentally, on both sides of the football, they are a very, very, very dominant team.
Let me ask you about Jalen Ramsey, because we talk about that third trifecta, X factor in that defense. Will he have an impact in this? Because you're talking about run with the Niners now.
Yeah, it's really interesting because when you think about Jalen Ramsey, the first thing you think about is the number one receiver, right? Who's your number one receiver that he can match up on man-to-man and take away from your scheme? Well, guess what? The 49ers doesn't necessarily have that number one receiver, that dominant guy. So now what you have to do if you're Jalen Ramsey is find out where you fit in. but you don't fit in well against the run game. The run game is a totally different game. So I think this is where San Fran, when you think about passing the ball and not being able to be afraid of throwing the ball wherever he is, it doesn't matter. It's how Kyle Shanahan draws up his schemes, and it's just really interesting. I think this weekend, I just want to see how the Rams play with Jalen Ramsey against this offense.
So all 4 teams vying for a championship to get in that winner's circle. Let's have a little fun here. On this day, you know something about this. Something happened not too long ago, this day in sports history. Oh, look who is that? Is that Sugar?
Oh, that's that young Sugar there.
2001, winning this one against the Giants. You got to catch this, Ray.
I got to catch that.
Ray, what's going on? But you make it up here.
Yeah.
Chasing down Tiki.
Yeah.
Take us back to this game. Give us the ebbs and flows. How did this one go for you?
Oh, man, we were so mad. As a defense, we wanted to do something that's never been done, which we did, right? And I remember being in the locker room, and all we talked about was this team is not scoring, right? If they don't score, they don't win. And Rod Woodson, I never forget looking at Rod Woodson's eyes, 20 years to the day, and being there and watching something come together as a brotherhood, right? Because he took me in as a youngster. And I told him before the game, I said, I will do anything to bring you a Super Bowl, anything. And man, at the end of the game, of course, being 25 minutes away from my hometown, to hear the announcer come across and say I'm the MVP, it's like, wait a minute, this story doesn't stop yet, right? You keep on living as a kid, and these opportunities just keep coming. So I'm telling you, it's probably one of the greatest moments of my life when you talk about the game, because of the men that I was in that locker room with and the sacrifice that we made for each other. And it ain't because the Super Bowl was a Super Bowl. It was because we really believe that together we can do anything. And we did that. And we made a heck of a run in the playoffs and get to the Giants. And I always tell all Giants fans, seriously, I say this all the time, that was not personal. It was only business.
It's only business. You were all business in that one. You were the 7th defensive player to win the Super Bowl MVP, the last player to do that, Von Miller, who has a chance to maybe get back to that stage to see what happens there. Of course, he did it with the Broncos. So we'll see how that happens there. Of course, the conversation continues on Inside the NFL with Ray and the guys and JB every Tuesday. A new episode streaming at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. You can catch it on Paramount Plus, streaming daily on there as always.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.